So yeah. I never thought I'd be that guy posting here, but here we are. I, 34M, have been married to my wife, 32F, for almost 6 years. Together for 9. From the outside, we looked solid, decent jobs, small apartment, a dog we both pretend likes her more, it doesn't. Nothing flashy, but stable. At least, that's what I thought. The last few months felt off, but not in a dramatic, obvious way. More like small cracks you keep ignoring because you don't want to deal with what they might mean. She got sharper with me, like every little thing I did annoyed her. I'd ask a simple question, and she'd snap back like I'd accused her of something. And the lying, at first it was small stuff. Weird, unnecessary lies. Like saying she was working late, but then forgetting and mentioning she'd just gotten home hours earlier. Or telling me she hadn't seen her friend in weeks, then casually referencing something they did yesterday. When I pointed it out, she'd flip it on me instantly. You're imagining things. You always do this. God, you're exhausting lately. And I believed her. Or at least, I wanted to. Because the alternative? That the person I trusted more than anyone was lying to my face for no clear reason? Yeah. I wasn't ready for that. Looking back now, I think deep down I already knew something was wrong. I just didn't realize how bad it actually was going to get. After that night, I couldn't unsee it. Something had shifted. Before, I was trying to trust her. Now, I was noticing everything. Every inconsistency, every weird reaction, every moment that didn't quite line up. And the worst part? She didn't even try to hide the attitude anymore. If I asked where she'd been, I was controlling. If I asked who she was texting, I was insecure. If I said something felt off, I was starting drama. So I stopped asking. Not because I trusted her, but because I realized I wasn't going to get the truth anyway. Then came the night I wish I could rewind. She fell asleep on the couch. Phone in her hand. That never happens anymore. Ever. For like 10 minutes, I just stood there staring at it, arguing with myself. I've never been the type to go through someone's phone. It felt like crossing a line I couldn't uncross. But then I remembered the whispering. The lies. The way she looked at me like I was crazy. And yeah. I picked it up. My hands were actually shaking, which is stupid because part of me already knew I wasn't going to like what I'd find. The phone unlocked instantly, she hadn't even bothered to lock it. And right there, at the top of her messages. A name I didn't recognize. No contact photo. Just a first name. And a message preview that made my stomach drop. Last night was worth it. Can't stop thinking about you. I just froze. Like my brain couldn't process it fast enough. I opened the thread. And I swear, in that moment, everything I thought I knew about my life just cracked open. Because this wasn't flirting. This wasn't, maybe something is going on. This was something else entirely. And it had been happening for a while. I wish I could say it was just one message. One mistake. Something you could maybe twist into a misunderstanding. It wasn't. I kept scrolling, and every swipe felt like another punch to the chest. There were weeks of messages. Maybe months. I couldn't even tell at that point, it all blurred together. Jokes. Inside references. Plans. Actual plans. Same place as last time. Tell him you're working late again. I miss you already. That last one, yeah, that one stuck. Because she hadn't said anything like that to me in a long time. And then it got worse. Photos. Nothing explicit, but intimate enough that you don't need imagination to understand what's going on. Selfies from what looked like a hotel bathroom. One where she's smiling in a way I haven't seen in months. There was even a message from him. Still thinking about the way you laughed after. I didn't read the rest. Couldn't. My hands literally went numb. And the timestamps? They lined up perfectly with every late meeting, every helping a coworker, every time she made me feel crazy for questioning her. It wasn't random. It was organized. Planned. And the worst part? She wasn't just lying, she was using me as the excuse. I sat there on the edge of the couch, her phone still in my hand, just staring at nothing. She was right next to me. Sleeping like everything was normal. Like she hadn't just blown up our entire life. I remember thinking, really clearly. This is the moment everything changes. Because there's no going back after seeing something like that. No unreading it. No pretending you don't know. And I had a choice to make right then. Wake her up and explode. Or wait. I chose to wait. And honestly, that might have been the moment I started becoming someone I didn't fully recognize either. I didn't wake her up. I know some people would have lost it right there, yelled, thrown the phone, demanded answers at 2 a.m. But I didn't. I gently put the phone back in her hand, like nothing happened, and just sat there for a while. Watching her sleep. And yeah, that messed with my head more than anything else. Because how can someone lie that much, betray you like that, and still sleep peacefully next to you? The next morning, I acted normal. Or at least I tried to. Made coffee. Asked her how she slept. Even joked about something dumb like we always do. And she just went along with it. No guilt. No hesitation. No sign that she had anything to hide. That part really got to me. Because now I knew, she wasn't slipping up accidentally. She was choosing this. Every single day. Later that day, she texted me. Running late tonight, don't wait up. I remember staring at that message for a long time. Before, I would have just said, okay, love you. This time. I replied, sure. Good luck with the meeting. And I hated how easy it was for her to respond. Thanks, red heart. That stupid heart emoji, yeah, that almost broke me right there. Because I knew exactly what meeting actually meant now. That night, I didn't sit at home wondering. I drove. Not even fully thinking it through, just following the address I'd seen in her messages. A hotel. Not even far from our place. And I told myself maybe I was wrong. Maybe there's some explanation. Maybe I misunderstood. But deep down, I already knew what I was about to see. I just needed to confirm it. And honestly, I wish I hadn't. I pulled into the parking lot and just sat there with the engine running. For a second, I almost left. Like, what was I even hoping for? That I'd catch her walking out alone and suddenly everything would make sense. That there'd be some clean explanation that didn't make me feel like an idiot. Yeah. No. I turned the engine off and waited. And then, of course, life decided to speed things up. About 15 minutes later, I saw her. Walking toward the entrance. Not alone. She was laughing. Like, actually laughing. Relaxed, comfortable, the version of her I hadn't seen in months. The version I thought we just lost, because of stress or routine or whatever excuse I'd been feeding myself. And next to her was this guy. I didn't know him, but I didn't need to. The way she looked at him. Yeah. That told me everything. He put his hand on her lower back as they walked in. She didn't pull away. Didn't hesitate. Didn't look uncomfortable. Nothing. Just, normal. Like they'd done this before. Probably many times. I didn't follow them inside. I didn't need to. I wasn't trying to create some dramatic scene in a hotel lobby. I had my answer. And honestly, the weirdest part. I didn't feel rage right away. It was more like, everything went quiet. Like my brain just shut down the emotional part to keep me functioning. I sat there in the dark for I don't even know how long, just replaying it in my head. Every lie. Every argument where she made me feel like I was the problem. Every, "you're paranoid." And now I had the full picture. Not a suspicion. Not a gut feeling. Proof. Clear, undeniable proof. I finally drove home around midnight. She wasn't back yet. And for the first time since this all started, I wasn't confused anymore. I wasn't questioning myself. I was just done pretending I didn't see what was right in front of me. The only thing left was figuring out what the hell I was going to do about it. I sat in my car for a long time. Engine off. Just parked a few streets away from our place like I didn't know where else I was supposed to exist. My phone kept lighting up. Her. At first it was calls. Then texts. "Where are you? This is ridiculous. We need to talk." And then, after a while, the tone shifted. "You're overreacting. You're going to regret handling it like this. Don't do something stupid." That last one actually made me laugh. Not because it was funny, because of how backwards it felt. Like I was the one escalating things. Like I was the one who had introduced chaos into our lives. I turned the phone off. Just couldn't deal with it anymore. And that's when something unexpected happened. My best friend called. He must have seen the missed calls or something. I almost didn't answer, but I did. First thing he said was, "You sound like shit." I just exhaled and said, "Yeah. That tracks." He didn't push. Didn't ask for details right away. Just told me to come over. No judgment. No advice. Just space. I ended up at his place an hour later, sitting on his couch while he made some dumb frozen pizza like it was a normal night. And for the first time all day, I wasn't alone with my thoughts. But even there, even in that quiet safety, the same loop kept playing in my head. Her face when she lied. Her shrug. That's just how it happened. And I realized something I hadn't fully admitted yet. I didn't just lose trust in her. I lost respect for her. And once that goes, I didn't even know what was left to save. My friend eventually said, "What are you gonna do?" And I didn't answer right away. Because I didn't have a polished answer. Just the first honest one that came up. "I don't think I can stay." Saying it out loud made it real in a different way. Not dramatic. Not satisfying. Just final in a way that hurt more than anger ever did. She could tell something had changed. Not in a dramatic, movie scene way. More like she realized I wasn't playing the same role anymore. The one who absorbs everything. The one who calms things down. The one who eventually comes around. She stood up from the couch and crossed her arms tighter. "So what, you're just done?" she asked. "That's it?" No emotion. Just frustration. I nodded. That's when she scoffed again, but this time it felt different. Less confident. "You're going to regret this," she said. "You're acting like you're perfect here." I actually laughed a little at that. Not because it was funny. Because of how far the conversation had drifted from reality. "I'm not perfect," I said. "But I didn't lie. I didn't cheat. I didn't come home and pretend you're paranoid while doing it again the next day." That landed. I could see it. For the first time, she didn't have an immediate comeback. So she shifted. "You're going to ruin your own life over pride," she said. And that's when I realized something kind of strange. She genuinely believed I was the one making a dramatic decision. Not her. Not the cheating. Not the months of lies. Me leaving. That was the problem. I looked at her and said, This isn't pride. This is respect. And she blinked. Like that word didn't fit into her version of the story. There was a long pause after that. Then she softened her voice a bit, not apologetic, just strategic. We can fix this, she said. We just need to move past it. Move past it. Not fix it. Not rebuild trust. Just, skip it. Like it was a bad argument, not a complete breakdown of everything between us. I shook my head. I can't unsee it, I said. And she got quiet again. Not sad. Not remorseful. Just, realizing she was losing control of the situation. And that's when I knew. This wasn't about whether she felt sorry. It was about the fact that she never expected me to actually leave. She could tell something had changed. Not in a dramatic, movie scene way. More like she realized I wasn't playing the same role anymore. The one who absorbs everything. The one who calms things down. The one who eventually comes around. She stood up from the couch and crossed her arms tighter. So what, you're just done, she asked. That's it? No emotion. Just frustration. I nodded. That's when she scoffed again, but this time it felt different. Less confident. You're going to regret this, she said. You're acting like you're perfect here. I actually laughed a little at that. Not because it was funny. Because of how far the conversation had drifted from reality. I'm not perfect, I said. But I didn't lie. I didn't cheat. I didn't come home and pretend you're paranoid while doing it again the next day. That landed. I could see it. For the first time, she didn't have an immediate comeback. So she shifted. You're going to ruin your own life over pride, she said. And that's when I realized something kind of strange. She genuinely believed I was the one making a dramatic decision. Not her. Not the cheating. Not the months of lies. Me leaving. That was the problem. I looked at her and said. This isn't pride. This is respect. And she blinked. Like that word didn't fit into her version of the story. There was a long pause after that. Then she softened her voice a bit, not apologetic, just strategic. We can fix this, she said. We just need to move past it. Move past it. Not fix it. Not rebuild trust. Just, skip it. Like it was a bad argument, not a complete breakdown of everything between us. I shook my head. I can't unsee it, I said. And she got quiet again. Not sad. Not remorseful. Just, realizing she was losing control of the situation. And that's when I knew. This wasn't about whether she felt sorry. It was about the fact that she never expected me to actually leave. The silence after that felt different. Heavier. Like both of us finally understood we weren't circling the same idea anymore. She stopped pacing. Stopped arguing. Just looked at me for a long moment like she was recalculating everything. Then she said, flatly. So that's it. You're really choosing this. I corrected her immediately. I'm not choosing this. You already chose it. That's when the mask slipped. Not in a dramatic breakdown. Not tears. Not regret. Something sharper. Do you want me to beg you or something? She said. Is that what this is about? I just stared at her. Because that was honestly where her mind went. Not, I hurt you. Not, I destroyed trust. But performative repair. When I didn't answer, she shook her head. You think you're better than me now? That one caught me off guard, because it came out of nowhere. I said, no. I think I was loyal. She laughed again, that same short, cold laugh. You weren't perfect either, she said quickly. You're acting like I just did this for fun. You pushed me away for years. There it was. The rewrite. The retroactive justification. Like the cheating needed a backstory that made it inevitable instead of a choice. I felt something settle in me at that point. Not anger. Not sadness. Just finality. I said. If you were unhappy, you leave. You don't build a second life and call it my fault. That shut her up for a second. And then she said something quieter. Almost careless. You're going to be alone then. I remember that line more than anything else she said. Because it wasn't emotional. It wasn't even angry. It was just, meant to hurt me. A last attempt at control. I picked up my keys. And she didn't stop me. Didn't follow. Didn't apologize. Just stood there watching like she was still expecting this to turn into a scene where I come back and everything resets. But I didn't. And as I opened the door, I realized something I didn't feel earlier. I wasn't leaving because I was broken. I was leaving because I finally stopped accepting it. I didn't slam the door. I didn't do anything cinematic. I just left. And the weird part is, once I was outside, it didn't feel like a dramatic ending. No sudden relief. No instant clarity. Just this quiet, exhausting emptiness. For the first few days, I bounced between places, my friend's couch, a cheap short-term rental, sitting in my car longer than I'd admit because I didn't feel like being anywhere. She kept trying to reach me for a while. Then less. Then nothing. The last message she sent was simple. I guess you really meant it. No apology. No reflection. Just that. I didn't reply. Eventually, reality settled in, paperwork, separating things, dividing what little ours still existed. It was all painfully practical compared to the emotional chaos that came before it. And here's the part one didn't expect. After the anger faded, I didn't miss her. Not the person she became at the end, at least. What I did miss was the version of me that believed things would stay honest if I just tried hard enough. That part took longer to let go of. Because the truth is, I ignored a lot of signs. Not because I was stupid, but because I didn't want to accept what they meant. I kept trying to explain away behavior that didn't deserve explanations. And she kept taking advantage of that. If there's anything I've learned from all this, it's this. When someone shows you they're comfortable lying to your face repeatedly, the conversation isn't about fixing trust anymore. It's about whether you're willing to keep living in a version of reality they're constructing for you. And I was. For too long. For anyone reading this in a similar situation, don't wait for the perfect proof or the perfect moment where everything suddenly makes sense. Sometimes you already know. You're just trying to delay the point where knowing forces you to act. Leaving didn't feel like winning. It just felt like finally stopping the losing. And yeah. I'm still rebuilding. But at least now, it's my life I'm rebuilding.